Okay, today, if you can't guess, we're looking at sampling on the Electribe. Just having a little go with a microphone, using a flute. You can see how easy it is. You press shift and the record, play straight into the microphone. You can see where you plug it in at the beginning, and then if you listen, there's a big gap before the sample plays. So as with any sampler, once you've recorded it, you need to trim the beginning and the end. So save up your sample, and then you go on the sample mode, you press the button to go down one, and that gets you into the sample start. And if you press a shift, that will take you all the way through and the fast speed. If you do it too far, you get all the way to the end, you don't hear anything. So play with it until you get to the right amount, and then you can find the beginning of the sample. Once you've got the beginning of the sample, then you have to look at the end. So to get to the sample end, if you look down the matrix thing, press the button down once more. Makes sense, it's a logical step-by-step operation. In the same way, you press the shift to get to the larger chunk of the samples and the fine-tuning without it, get to the end, and then the final step is to put a fade at the end so you get a nice rollout. Okay, and that just helps when you're playing multiple samples one after the other. Just makes it a little bit nicer. You don't get quite as much of the clicks and the nonsense that you get. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to layer up those flute sounds. So I'm going to make a chord with them, and this is going to be the start to what I want to do with the next video, because this will happen in a pair, where I'll show you how to resample with it. So you can, once you layer it up and you've created a new pattern with your layer of samples, you can resample the whole of that pattern down into one new sample, which is really quite useful. While I'm going and doing that, just want you all to say goodbye. It's TR626. I said it was going, and it's going. It's wending its way up north somewhere to a new owner who I hope will make very, very good use of it. I'm gradually selling off some of my bits of kit that I don't need anymore. I haven't got the space for them, and hopefully somebody else can use them rather than just letting them gather dust in my underneath discs and various things. Okay, so I'm gradually tuning this up to create a rich sound, a nice big fat pad. It's an interesting way to go about it. It's all part of the sound design, and the Electribe for playing with samples is so much better than the Novation Circuit, but you can't sequence for toffee on it. To be fair, it is basically, the sequencer on it is basically just a drum machine, whereas the Novation, you've got more going on there. So I think I definitely need the two. And then, yeah, the Crave is a nice mono synth. And there's still a trick that I use with the Electribe, and again, that's all to do with the audio in as well, that I use with the Crave, and it makes things much easier, because there's another little box that I will use for my live rig, which will sit in the set and all fit in the same bag. So it takes a bit of a while, tune up all the samples. So I've got something that's nice and rich and big and sounds lovely. And a microphone that I used for this, because what you've got to remember is there's a jack in, so you can't use a quality condenser mic. All you can use is a dynamic, and I'm just using an SM58 on this. Pretty bog standard stuff, but it does exactly what I need for this. Once it's all layered up and I've got the sounds that I like and I've got everything exactly where I want it, I'm going to have a look at putting on some effects just to make the sound that little bit richer and that little bit bigger, because otherwise, you know, you've got the effects there, you might as well use them, and it creates a bit more interest, and that's part of what we're doing on this, is to create a bit more interest. So I'm not going to put the effects on every single one of the flute parts, and remember it's the same sample, you're just assigning it to different pads and then tuning it from different pads. So each of the copies of that sample, I guess they're loaded into active memory, and then that's what you work on. But these, you then, half of them I've added reverb onto, just to give it a bit of a richer, fatter sound. And in the next video I'll show you how to sample all of that, resample all of that back down onto one pad, and that means that you can then put another layer of effects on, and you can gradually make the thing thicker and bigger and start to get some pretty wacky sounds going out of it. So I will see you on the next one, and I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you found it useful. See you soon.